Chodesh Tov. Let's continue to talk about Pesach. A lot of things to cover, a lot of halachot, a lot of things. Baruch Hashem, I was zocher today. I went right after, as I said, after Musaf. I went straight to Bet Knesset Tama over here. I did Birkat Hailanot. Why do I tell you this? Because it's already possible to do. First day, Rosh Chodesh, you can already do. Why? Zrizim Makdimim. There's no reason to wait. I went over there, and I checked the trees over there, if they sprouted, because if they didn't sprout yet, you're not allowed to make the bracha. Too early, right? Over here in America, they sprout a little bit late, In Israel, they sprout earlier, because it gets warmer over there, It's warmer climate. So I went over there, and I looked at the trees, if they sprouted or not. Just barely they sprouted, just a little bit, but it's okay, you don't need a kazait, it's why you see something there that's good enough, so I made the bracha, Baruch Hashem. So you can go and make the bracha there, or whatever, maybe they have also here, I don't know, whatever it is, right? There's also other places, there's several places over here in this neighborhood, Baruch Hashem, Yishtabach Shemo. Anyway, right, so I want to tell you something interesting about Birkat Hailanot. What is the purpose of this? Right? According to Kabbalah, they say that there's a tikkun, there's a big tikkun with Birkat Hailanot. So what is the tikkun? Tikkun is that they say, that we spoke about this before, right? That when people do sins, all kinds of things, they have to come back sometimes in a gilgul, to fix the sin, next lifetime, right? So problem is, sometimes people come back in a gilgul, which is not human. They can come back also like as a lo aleinu, right? A cat, or something, or a dog, or animal, or something like that. It doesn't always come back as a human. By the way, sometimes they also come back as a goy. He was Jewish, but now he came back as a goy. Why? What's the reason why? Because he did a lot of big sins, and so they said, about this guy, he doesn't deserve to come back as a Jew. He should come back as a goy. He's such a sinner, So his tikkun, what is it? To convert to Judaism, to be a ger, because he comes from the Jewish soul, but the problem is, because of his sins, he was brought back as a goy. That's the thing, so his tikkun is to convert. So here's the thing, right? Says the Arizal, as we said, right? Some people come back as not as humans also. Animals, They can even come back, as plants, right? Vegetation, vegetable, tree, right? That's the thing. So now here's the thing, right? They say that some of the neshamot, they come back in the tree. They come back in the tree. The neshama is caught over there in the tree, So when you do Birkat Hailanot, you're being metaken this neshama, to leave the tree, You're freeing him. According to Kabbalah, this is the reason why we do Birkat Hailanot. To free the neshamot, right, that were mitgalgel, they came to the tree, to be gilgul. This is their gilgul over there. They were punished, for some sins that they did. I don't know what it is, what kind of sin. Maybe they ate orla, that's why they came back in the tree. To show them that they had the sin of orla, they didn't wait 3 years, they have to wait 3 years. The 4th year you can eat. The first 3 years, you're not allowed to eat from the tree. That's the thing, whatever it is anyway, right? That's the reason why we do the bracha, of Birkat Hailanot, according to Kabbalah. According to simple pshat, what's the reason why we do? To praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that everything is sprouting, in the spring. In other words, it's coming, in time. The trees are sprouting. We're going to have good fruits. We're going to have a good, right, good yield. Because we want that, right? So we want to bless Hashem to show, the gratitude. Thanks. We thank you, for allowing those fruit trees to sprout. That's why it says in the halakha that you cannot bless on any tree. It has to be a fruit tree. Because if it doesn't grow fruits there, what are you blessing? What does it help you? This tree, it doesn't give you nothing. So you don't bless on a tree like that. It has to be a fruit tree. You get something from there.
Now that you said this, when it gets fruit ready to eat, we say, let's say, we're not releasing the souls.
Yeah, that's something else, right? Here we're talking about the tree, right? He's stuck in the tree. He's not in the fruit. He's in the tree. It's a little bit different. Right?
Bracha for a tree, we have for a fruit.
Right, but this is also bracha for a tree, right? That's what I'm telling you, right? This is Birkat Hailanot. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm not a big mekubal, you got to ask one of the Kabbalistim. Go to the Kabbalistim. Ask them this question, I don't know. Anyway, right, as we said, getting back to what we said. So it has to be fruit trees. But it says in the Talmud, it says like this, Haroe ilanot, right? Ilanot. So what does ilanot mean? Trees. if he sees trees, that's what it says, right? But it says not ilan. Ilan is one tree. Ilanot means more than one, plural, right? That's why, they say in halakha that it has to be more than one. It has to be at least 2 trees. Because it says ilanot. So you gotta find 2 trees. If it's one, don't make a bracha lechatchila on this. But b'diavad, if he made the bracha, let's say there was only 1 fruit tree there. He made a bracha. He doesn't have to do it again. Yatzai dechoba. He fulfills obligation. You know what I mean? B'diavad. But lechatchila, it should be there 2 trees. 2 fruit trees, right?
Different trees?
Two they're separate trees, right? Separate. Could be the same. No, it could be they're both apples, let's say, right? They're both apple, yablaka, It's fine, But it has to be 2 trees. Right? That's the thing, right? So that's the whole thing. That's the way it works, 2 trees, and they have to be fruit trees. Right? Both of these things you need conditions to do the Birkat Hailanot. There's also another interesting halakha, which is that it says in the Shulchan Aruch that if a person, really wants to do the bracha the best way, what he should do is, not make the bracha in the city, in the town. He should go to the field, the sadeh, go into the field and make the bracha over there. Why? Because over there, that's really the praise, of these things, it's in the field, because we have orchards over there, right? We grow fruits over there, all kinds of nice things. So the best way to do the mitzvah is to go into the field, and make the bracha. But we're not medaktik so much about this, in our times. The truth is, because if you have to go now to the field, it's going to take you, 2-3 hours going back and forth, God knows, where you're going to wind up with this thing, what I mean? So that's why we're not so medaktik about this. But if a person wants to, do the best way, this is the best way to do, to go to the sadeh, to go to the field. Right, not in the city. Okay, that's an interesting thing. So the question is, right, how much time do we have to make the Birkat Hailanot? We have all Chodesh Nisan, right? That's for sure. Right, so you have the whole month. Right?
Usually do on the second day of this.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. As I told you, right, Maran, Rabbi Shalom, he would go on Rosh Chodesh, and do it right away. Zizin Makdimim, why wait? Right? You have the chance to do the mitzvah, don't wait, Say the Chazal, a mitzvah ba liyadecha al tachamitzena. You know what that means? If the mitzvah comes to your hand, right, don't delay it, If it's right there in your hand, go for it.
Flowers, it's supposed to
Right. You need flowers, but here's the thing, right? If it's already growing fruits, it's already too late. You know what I mean? The fruit is already formed. That's too late, right? Just the flowers, exactly, right. So if you got the flowers, and before the fruits, it should be. That's the time to do it. That's Chodesh Nisan, basically, more or less, right? So that's why you got the whole month. You can go, right? If you didn't go Rosh Chodesh, you still have time, right, to make it up all month. Baruch Hashem, you have time, so not the end of the world, but anyways, right? Rizing Makdimim. It's good to make this bracha. Also, my friend, what do you call it? Yesterday, Rabbi Yonatan. I don't know if you guys heard what he said, right? Which is that do women have to make it? So the answer is no. The women don't make Birkat Hailanot. They're not obligated to do. It's just minhag is that men do it because it's time bound. It's a time bound mitzvah. So that's why the women don't really get involved with it so much. Okay, whatever. Anyway, right, so women are not obligated, right, Baruch Hashem. The men should go to do it, right, don't wait. There's also another thing, which you find with the Birkat Hailanot, which is that they go, with the whole tikkun, over there, with Tehillim and all kinds of prayers, and it's a whole marech, it's a whole set of prayers over there, what I mean? So the truth is, this is a minhag, to do all these things, they're noheg. And then they do Kaddish also, right, they do Kaddish. It's like a whole big thing, right, ceremony over there that they do. What I mean? But the truth is, just to do the mitzvah, right? All you need is just to do the basic bracha. That's all you need, That's what the rabbis made. Just the bracha itself. That's it, right? You don't have to do everything, every teilim, you don't have to get into all this. What I mean? If you have time, you got nothing better to do, so go, to read the whole thing. But it's not really necessary, to read everything. Whatever. So whatever you have time to do, you have time. Baruch Hashem. Okay, very good. So that's Birkat Hailanot. I'll tell you also something very important about Passover, which is that I see all the people, all the time people have problems with these kinds of things. Here's the thing, right? I buy food product. I go to the store, right? And I buy, let's say, tomato paste, right? So I look at the label, what's in there, ingredients, right? Tomato and water and salt. That's all there is, right? Does this have to be kasher Pesach, this product? That's the question, right? So the answer is no. There's nothing in there. There's no chametz in there. There's no flour in there. There's no breadcrumbs, There's nothing, So something like this, where you see simple ingredients, water, tomato, salt. What do you need kashrut for Pesach? You don't need the, the thing is, when they put kashrut for Pesach, it's business, they're making more money. They charge you more. It goes to the consumer also, they charge you. It's not really worth it, to these simple kinds of products, to look for hechsherim, it has to be kasher at Pesach. You know what that means, right? The check is going to that rabbi, in his pocket. That's what it means. That's all it means. I don't really know what else it means. He's getting money from it. Everybody's making money there. You know what I mean? But it's not necessary, to these kinds of things, to have kashrut. What are you gonna do? Go to the store, right? And buy orange juice, kasher Pesach. What does it need orange juice, kasher Pesach? What they put the bread in there? What are they putting in there? You know what I mean? You don't need for these kinds of things. So whatever is simple, simple things, Also like milk, like milk needs kashrut for Pesach. No, what for? What? They're putting bread in there? They're putting flour in there? No such a thing like that. No, you don't need.
It's like a meat. We all buy the same meat and we just put it in a separate Passover
right.
plates.
Right. But the basar, it requires, expertise, to know how to do basar, meat, But when it comes to these things, this is just basic stuff, ABC, 1, 2, 3, nothing really complicated in these kinds of things, So when you go to the store, you buy stuff like this, as we said, right, also, you're buying oil, right? What oil, you see what's in there, right? Just corn oil. That's all there is, there's nothing in there. You know what I mean? So what do you need kashrut for? You need kashrut for this? You don't need. There's no.
We use avocado oil?
I'm sorry?
Avocado oil?
Same thing, what avocado is not comets, right? It's a vegetable, So you don't need it. There's no reason for these things. Mechila.
Question.
Yeah.
How Rabbi teach us everything should be said Passover?
Because he doesn't know the halacha. What can we do? If he doesn't know.
That's what you say.
Yeah.
So if my son or grandson or whatever, they go to the yeshiva,
Yeah.
they got some stuff, they say, Pop, it's not a Passover.
Yeah,
You cannot eat this.
I understand.
But it's kosher,
I understand.
but it's not
Okay, so
Passover.
don't get me into politics now. I don't want to get into politica. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into personal issues. My son, my daughter, this. I don't know. That's your business.
Smart now.
That's your business. I got you.
Stupid.
That's up to you. That's up to you. Whatever you want to do, that's up to you. You got to take care of your family. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to come to your house, and talking with them. Why don't you listen to your grandfather? I'm not going to tell them. I mean, that's not my business. That's your business. You take care of that, right? You're the king over there. You're the melech in the house. You know what I mean? So you're the king. You're the boss. You take care.
My country, yes.
God bless you. God bless you. Okay, I understand you. I'll tell you something interesting, right? Which is that in the old days, before, when did the kashrut start coming out? Kasher, on the food. About 100 years ago, they started this, 100 years ago. Who was the first one? The OU, the OU. They started about 100 years ago, this kashrut. I mean, before that, right, our great-grandfathers didn't have no kashrut on anything. You know what I mean? There was no kashrut on food. So how do they buy these food? Potato, tomato paste. How do they buy these kinds of things? You know what the answer is? Because the rabbis told them this is allowed. You can buy this one. The rabbis told them because they knew what was in there. You know what I mean? That's what it is. In those days, by the way, they didn't even say the ingredients on the package. It doesn't say what's in there. But they knew, the rabbis knew, because they went and asked them, they found out. You know what I mean? So the rabbis would tell people, this is okay, you can buy this one, you can buy this one. But it doesn't have kashrut there. So you see from there, right, that what? The halacha was never, that you need kashrut on food. Kashrut, supervision. No such a halacha like this. You know what I mean? So how did this start? The truth is, it's a business, they're making money. You know what I mean? It's a lot of money involved there. Millions of dollars going, $2
billion.
2 billion. There you go. It's a lot of money, you know what I mean? It's a lot of money there going there. People are getting rich, their bank accounts are growing, exponentially. That's what it is, it's about money really, but the truth is, it's also, I have to say, there's also a good side to it. The good side is that it helps people, because who don't know, how to do these things, it helps them. You know what I mean? Because most people are not rabbis, they don't know, what's allowed, what's not allowed. They get confused, they don't know how to do these things. That's why, the Birkat Hailanot says, Aseh lecha rav, everybody has to have a rabbi, you know what I mean? You gotta have a rabbi to explain to you, right, what's allowed, what's not allowed. You gotta get a rabbi. But the thing is, a lot of people, in America, they don't have a rabbi. You know what I mean? Because they live in a place where there's no rabbis there. No, nobody. So what do? They look on the label, right? Kashrut, kasher lePesach. So this helps them, you know what I mean? It's good, you know, for a lot of people. Because they don't know what to do. You know, so there's also a good side to it, you know? I'm not telling you it's, it's terrible, you know, to do kashrut. No, it's not. It can be very helpful. You know? When I was a kid, I also used it, you know what I mean? I looked at the label. I like everybody else, you know, what am I going to do? I'm just like anybody else, any other Jew. I mean, so it can be helpful. But the thing is, you know, the problem is like this. Yes, it can be helpful, but it also did some damage, you know? Which is the damage? It gave people perception, you know, that without kashrut, this is not kosher, this food. And this is not true. You know, this is not emet. If somebody tells you that, right, if it doesn't say kashrut, it's not kosher. No, it doesn't mean nothing. So let me explain to you a little bit, right, more about this, about the kashrut. There is a law in America, you know. America is a, organized country, you know what I mean? This is not a balagan over here, you know. This is not Iraq over here. This is not, Colombia, you know, some crazy country, you know, Banana Republic. There are rules over here, you know, there's regulations. You know what I mean? So the law says in America, everything, when you sell a food, you know, any food, drink, you have to put all the ingredients on the package. Everything has to be there. You're not allowed to skip anything. There's a law like this in America, you know what I mean? So nobody who's making food, doesn't matter, he's Goy or Jewish, doesn't matter. He's not allowed to hide something, you know, which is in there and not write it. If he does, what happens? If he hides it, he's going to get a lawsuit, right? They're going to get a lawyer, sue him for $10 million, you know, and close down his business. That's what they do over here. You know what I mean? So people are scared, you know, over here. You know what I mean? To lie, to hide things. Because they know, you know, if they pull some kind of a scam, they're going to get sued, you know, $10 million, $100 million, right? That's what they do over here. They sue you. You know, they don't care about nothing. So people are scared, you know, to hide things. It's a very good thing, you know, the Baruch Hashem. There's also another thing, you know, which is in halakha, it says in the Talmud, that the goy, you know, is really scared, you know, to lie about these things. They're scared. Why? Because they're going to lose business, you know, if they find out that there's some fraud going on, you know what I mean? They're going to come, you know, into the news, you know, you're going to see it, right, on the TV, right, fraud, you know, this company, right, was caught for fraud. They know they're going to lose business, you know, so the goy understands, you know, not because he has Irat Shamayim, he doesn't have an Irat Shamayim. Not because he's honest, he's not honest, but he's afraid about his business, you know what I mean? He doesn't want to lose business, you know what I mean? So that's why he's scared, you know, to lie about these things. They don't want to lie. This is just business, you know, common sense business, you know, strategy. That's what it is, you know. So that's why the rule is, you know, the goy will not lie about these things. We assume, right, that they won't lie because they're going to lose business like that. They're going to get lawsuits. It also got better, you know, this thing got better now. Why? Because there are people, you know, who are allergic to certain ingredients, you know what I mean? So if you don't write that ingredient, right, that you put in the food, and a person got sick, you know, because he's allergic to it, he's going to sue you for $100 million. You understand? So people are scared, you know. The manufacturers are scared of this. They know what's going to be, you know. If they hide something, somebody's going to get sick, sue them, you know, they're going to close down the business, $10 million, bam, boom. Ruin the reputation also, you know. The name is going to get ruined. Lose everything. So this is the reason why, you know, Goy doesn't want to do this. So this is the reason why, you know, when they say something, you know, on the package, it's only this, that's all there is. There's nothing else in there. That's all there is. I mean, so you don't have to be afraid, you know, maybe they're hiding something, maybe something is monkey business. No, there's no monkey business. I'll tell you even more, you know how much they're scared today, you know, people who are making the foods. I'll tell you how much. Listen to this. Same thing in America, same thing in Israel. Sometimes it says on a package, right, if you notice, right, if you buy, right, a certain food, it says on a package, right, not that it has this food, you know, in there, this ingredient. It says it may contain. It may contain. Maybe there is in there. What do you mean maybe? You don't know what's in there. Why are you telling me maybe? It may contain, you know. Same thing in Israel, by the way, same thing. Why do they put this over there? You know, it may have peanuts in there. It may have, what do you call it, gluten in there. It may have gluten. It may have. I don't know. Maybe.
May cause allergies.
What does this mean? Maybe. What does it mean? You don't know what you're putting in your food? What is this maybe? So you know what the answer is? The answer is that when they make the food in the factory, you know, certain factory, right? They make over there several types of foods, you know, not only one. In the morning, they make this, right? In the afternoon, they're making something else over there. The same plant. You know what I mean? So the thing is, sometimes gets left over, from the other one, some sheriot, some leftovers. And they didn't wash it so good. The truth is, there's also a law in America. When you change from one food to another, you have to wash the whole factory, the whole plant. You gotta wash everything before you change to the other food. You gotta wash it first. So America, is a mesudar. It's a country with that everything. There's rules over here about these things. So that means that they wash it, between this and that. They wash everything. But the thing is, maybe something got left over, right? It's not 100%. You never know. You never know. Like something could get. That's why they say maybe it has this. Peanuts. Maybe it has gluten because maybe they didn't wash it good, and got left over. So they write even that. You know why? Because they're scared of lawsuits. $10 million. Lawyer, what's going to come? Sue them, take them to court, finish them. They're going to finish them. This is the reason why, that people are over here, in a country which has laws like this, people are scared to lie, to cheat over here because they know it's going to harm them. People are not stupid, they know what's going on. That's the whole thing, I'll tell you one more thing and we'll finish here. Also, Maran Rabbi, his son told me, Rabbi Tzak Yosef, the chief rabbi, he told me that when he was younger, people used to come to him, bring foods, all kinds of foods, and they would ask him, Rabbi, is this kosher for Passover? So what would he do? He would read the ingredients. Like everybody else, It says the salt, it says the tomatoes. He would tell them it's kosher for Passover. I see the ingredients, nothing bad in there. The rabbi also did this himself, There are some rabbis today, who don't want to do this. They're scared. You know why? Why are they scared? What are they scared for? The reason why they're scared is because now the ingredients is very complicated, Like instead of having 2 or 3 ingredients, sometimes they have 20 and 30. You see right on the package, right? 30 ingredients. What is this business? You know what I mean? Why they put 30 ingredients in a food? Preservatives, all kinds of things, stabilizers, all kinds of things, all kinds of things they put in there. So the rabbis today are scared, They say, we don't know what these things are, I don't know what it is. It has all kinds of funny names, chemical names. I don't know what this means. I don't know this is not tomato. Something else. I don't know what this is. So what's the answer to these rabbis? How do you answer them? You know how you answer them? There's a way to check these things, You go on Google, you know what I mean? Don't be stupid. Go to Google and look up that, that ingredient, and it'll tell you everything. How it's made, where it comes from. Google has everything. It's got everything there. Every food, every ingredient is there. So no matter what it is, if a rabbi is clever, he's smart, and he knows how to use Google, go and check. Everything is there. That's how I do it. When people come to me, and ask me a question, I check it on Google. It's got everything there. Nothing there is missing. Everything, 100%. Now because of AI, right, there's also even more, AI now has more things, a lot more than it used to be before. So today, nothing is hidden, everything is open, everything is revealed, galui, yadua. Everything. So there's no mistakes, you go in, if you don't know how to do it, so then get somebody, who knows how to do. You know what I mean? But the truth is, bottom line, as we said, right, generally speaking, you don't need hashgacha, supervision for food. Not for the whole year round and not for the Pesach. But, if you don't know what you're doing, right, get somebody who knows what he's doing. That's why we have these companies, you know what I mean? OU, right, the OK, the Star K. These companies are they're rabbis who are, they're in this business, you know what I mean, of checking everything, That's what it is. So, that's the way it's done, Baruch Rabbatai. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen. Rabbi Chanan Shomer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעזור את ישראל, לפיך הכי בא להם תורה ומצווה שהוא אומר, אני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה בידי.